Hello everyone, I hope you are having a slayful day. My name is Flick and you are listening to Hard Hats and Heels recorded at Flexi Desks, Sunshine Coast. Hello guys, how are you? I am, firing out some episodes today. So we're just going to jump into it. No Friday knockoff because this episode is pre-recorded, sadly. It's just the way it has to be at the moment with the job that I'm doing. Hopefully I get to a place where I can come into the podcast studio every week, but we'll see. So this week's episode is going to be a bit different, but let me set you a scene. Right, you've done your grocery shopping, the washing's still in the machine, your phone's buzzing, you're feeling anxious, and it's a Sunday. What do we call that? We call that Sunday Scaries, which is such a common term that I hear now and it's getting spoken about. But Sunday Scaries are honestly such a real thing. I am so blessed that I love my job and I adore my job, but it wasn't always this way. And I definitely used to have Sunday Scaries and I definitely used to be in a place where, I used to get anxious about going back to work. But let's talk about it. Let's figure out things we can do to try and, make Sunday Scaries a little bit less. And just have conversations about it because like I always say, change starts with a conversation and connection starts with a conversation. So let's just have some conversations about it. So why Sundays feel so intense in your 20s in particular. As a 20-something-year-old, I'm sure everybody has come across the feeling of a Sunday scary at some point in time, but you're not a teenager anymore, so you can't just, pull a sickie for work like you used to pull a sickie for school on a Monday. It's weekends aren't rest sometimes. They sometimes feel like it's survival. You work 5 days a week to, have 2 days off, and it's hard. And the fact that we're not acknowledging how hard that is definitely something that needs to change, because Sundays can be really, really scary as a 20-something-year-old. You have a pressure to have a job that you love and a career that you're working towards and a side hustle and go to the gym and fitness and have a social life but not be boring, and you've got to be fun but you've got to meal prep and you've got to make sure you do all these things, and there's a never ending tick list of stuff that we have to do as a 20-something-year-old to be successful and be deemed like you're doing enough, when in reality the fact that we work 38 hours a week at a minimum, full-time hours, how do they expect you to do anything else? Because if you're working 38 hours a week that of a job you don't like, you're going to be burnt out at the end of the day, and you're not going to, have the mental space to be able to do things. So we've got to talk about that. And it's then you're carrying the invisible stresses of the fact that we're 20-something-year-olds living in a world that, the economy is crashing low-key. Everything's so expensive. You've got bills, you've got rent, you've got electricity, you've got food, you've got a gym membership, you've got a phone bill, you've got all these things, and they just pile and pile and pile and pile, and you've got all that stress on the back of your mind that, that's why you've got to go to work and you can't leave a job because how am I supposed to pay for these things that I need to? And that's why you can't leave a job that you hate, but you've got to, figure out a way to get around it. Talking on a social media point of view, Sundays everyone's posting their Sunday meal prep, my Sunday long runs, my Sunday this, my Sunday that, and don't get me wrong, I'm guilty. I personally love a Sunday meal prep, I love a Sunday long run, and I've definitely posted all those things, but that puts pressure on people, and I'm not saying it's not a good thing that people posting these things, because I believe it is a good thing, because encouragement is such a big it helps people to build that sort of discipline to do those sort of things. But when everyone's posting these sorts of things, you start to get that little anxious feeling in your stomach that, oh, I've got to go back to work tomorrow and I've wasted a whole weekend. Because we're building futures, and that sometimes that feels more heavy than it is exciting, and it shouldn't be that way. The fact that we're building a future should be so exciting, because we only have one life. And the fact that we're not running full steam ahead to, create a life that we want to live is so scary, because we only have a certain amount of seconds every day and we never get them back. And not to be all real and motivational with you, but, Sunday Scaries are so real, because I think about these things on Sunday Scaries about how I've only got one life and I want to be running full steam ahead into the life I want. But how do you start running full steam into the life you want when you're stressed about money and how you're going to do things? I like it, and it would be hard, and it is hard. As a 20-something-year-old girl, I know how hard it is. And I'm sure that so many so many people can relate to the feeling that I'm talking about. So what Sunday scaries can actually look like. So it can be just constant tension in your body. Just like your muscles tightening, your neck's tight, your whole body is just feeling like tension within it, because our bodies can sense when we're stressed before our brain even realizes that we're stressed. So cool. But that's probably why you're starting to get that feeling and that sickening feeling in your tummy that you don't want to eat. Probably that too. You get guilt for doing nothing on your days off. If you just laid in your bed all day on Sunday and rested, maybe you needed that rest, and it's okay to rest. And it's okay to rest and not feel guilty about it. You don't actually, I know that on social media it's a highlight reel and we see people going to do this and going to do that and doing this and doing that. You actually don't need to be doing those things. Rest is actually productive. And like, it's so scary to say that because I'm still trying to learn how productive rest is. My partner always says to me, he's like, oh, well, like, you don't actually rest that often. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't rest. I'm Flick, I've got to go a million miles an hour. And I actually don't have to go a million miles an hour. I can actually slow down and rest. And I'm still trying to learn that. And I really hope this is something we can learn together because it's so important. But then Sunday scaries can turn into overthinking everything. Fun fact, this podcast actually came from me having serious Sunday scaries and I was freaking out. It was more like holiday scaries. It was my last Sunday that I had been on holidays for 3 weeks, and it was my last Sunday and I was going back to work the next day, and I was literally crashing out. And I was crashing out and I was like, I need to change. I need to do something. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to start a podcast where I can talk about these sorts of things and, maybe build a little community and build a life that I am excited to wake up to, which is what you've got to, do. And then tie it back to your own routine. So, like, when do these moments hit the hardest for you? So when I'm talking about Sunday scaries, just think about your own routine that you do. And when does it hit hardest? Does it hit hardest when you wake up on Sunday and realize it's your last day, or does it hit hardest when you're Sunday arvos? For me personally, Sunday arvos, I don't really get Sunday scaries anymore because I genuinely do really love my job. But for me, Sunday arvos can be like my peak Sunday scary times, and I'm like, oh, I've got to go to work tomorrow and my weekend's gone. And especially if it's a really beautiful, crisp day for me, Sunday scaries can be like, now I've got to go to work and I can't enjoy this properly. But, yeah, that's probably my biggest time of Sunday scaries. But I'd love to hear when you get Sunday scaries the most. So let's talk about resetting. So I think it's definitely something that, as much as I think rest is productive, resetting your life can honestly help. Friday afternoon when you get home from work, right, I try and do so many things that afternoon so that they help me. I make sure my bed sheets are changed. I put away my washing. I make sure my room's clean. I vacuum. I do all those sorts of things. I have a good meal so that I know that I've already done some things to help me set up so I can have some free time on my weekend, because rest is really, really important. And so if you want to have a sleep in on a Saturday, you can now have a sleep in on a Saturday because you've done some of those things. But some things that I feel like help a Sunday reset in particular and help me feel really grounded, because I love a Sunday reset. I actually froth one, in my opinion. But moving your body is not a punishment. Going on a walk, going to Pilates, going and doing something you enjoy. You don't have to go to, do a gym session like, I hate this. Do something that you like. Going on a walk and going on a run. Movement is not a punishment. It is a blessing in disguise. I personally love a long walk in the sun. I also love a long Sunday run, but if you don't love running, don't do running. And Pilates, those are definitely my top 3 Sunday movements. Put down your phone. Stop just spiraling on TikTok, because 9 times out of 10 social media is going to make you feel worse about the situation that you're in, because social media is a highlight reel and everyone's putting their highlights on that. So put down your phone, Um, and, go reconnect with nature. Cooking something slow. I love a slow cooker on a Sunday. I see TikToks all the time of girls like making jokes about them crashing out when they get home and the slow cooker's on the bench. But I actually love my slow cooker, and I love slow cooking on a Sunday, and you get to enjoy like a really yummy meal at the end of the day and just really romanticizing your Sunday. So like making it nice. But my other thing is prepping like you care. So prepare to fail or prepare to not fail. Is you can not meal prep, you can not prep your life, and you will definitely fail what you want to achieve in that week. But you can pre-prepare and prepare not to fail, and you can meal prep your food, and you can lay out your clothes, and you can put your laundry away, and you can do things that are going to make you feel set up for the week, and that will definitely help in my opinion. And then visual reminders for me, so journaling, sticky notes, putting sticky notes for the morning of things that I'm going to do to try and boost my serotonin levels a little bit, but definitely journaling about why you're feeling those Sunday scaries. And, is it because you're in a job that you hate, or is it because, you are getting bullied by someone at work, or is it because this just isn't what you want to do with your life and a career that you want to take your path on, or do you just feel lost, or do you want to go and travel? Whatever the reason may be, you've got to get to that root cause to try and get rid of those Sunday scaries. I figured out why I was having so many Sunday scaries, and I changed it. I quit my job, I got a brand new job, and now I love my job. I'm not saying I still definitely get Sunday scaries on like days before I go away for a few weeks. And when I've had a really nice weekend with my family, but it's not, my Sunday scaries now don't come from a place of guilt or stress or anything. They come from a place of, oh, I have such a cool life, and sometimes it's sad that I just have to go to work and I don't get to, go live my cool life. But then I remember that my career is such a big part of my cool life personally. So like just a closing word for my girlies, my boys that are dreading their Monday. You're doing more than you think, and it's okay. Rest is productive, but I can promise you that if you had a shower today, if you brushed your teeth, you are killing it. If you didn't make it out of bed today and all you did was lay in bed and watch Netflix, you're still killing it. Like, I think that you don't give yourself enough credit for the things that we actually do as 20-something-year-olds. And you're allowed to be tired and grateful at the same time. There's such a thing as feeling two feelings. I quite commonly will finish my day of work and just be so mentally exhausted and physically exhausted. But like at the same time, I'm still so grateful that I have a job that gets me to feel exhausted, that I want to put all my energy into, that exhausts me. How lucky am I to have a job like that? And yeah, that's something I think about all the time. Your 20s aren't supposed to be the year that you have it all figured out. And I know from a social media front, I can sometimes seem like I have it all figured out, but I don't. And nobody does. Nobody has it all figured out. Everyone has their issues, regardless on if you see them or not. So just take comfort in the fact that you're not going through this alone, whether you know it or not. There's other people out there that are struggling. And just a last reminder that you've made it through every single Monday so far. You will make it through the next one. You will make it through this week. But a very important note that I want to leave you on is just make sure that you do one thing this week to try and break the cycle of, Sunday scaries. Trying to do one thing that's going to slowly help you break the cycle of having Sunday scaries, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life dreading every Monday to come, because there is going to be so many more Mondays than you can even imagine, and you don't want to hate your life every time a Monday rolls around. But I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I really actually enjoyed chatting about this. This is probably one of my favorite little episodes that I've done. But I hope you guys have a slayful rest of your day. And if you're listening on a Monday, I'm proud of you that you made it through. And if you're listening on a Sunday, you're going to make it through Monday. Bye.